Oh, we're going? Oh, okay.
Dude, we're
Have
going.
we done every combination as far as seating goes?
I haven't sat here yet.
We literally
haven't.
can't because we've only shot 2.
No, I meant like 2 and 2, like that. Like, have I sat next to you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
sat
sat
next
to
to
him
me
last
last week. I haven't sat where you're sitting yet.
I haven't sat next to you.
We haven't.
I haven't sat next to Chris.
Well, that's because I have a 2-foot restraining order on you. You can't get within 2 feet of me. Nope. Hey, you want to get sued?
Watch that.
That's what
Watch
I thought.
what?
We don't want a lawsuit on
Watch
our
what
hands.
movie?
Watch what movie? And
That's what we're here to find out today.
We're here to find out. We're
And
gonna recommend you
that
something.
is why we are here. Welcome back to Stacked, our end of the month January episode, or beginning of the month February episode, I guess.
Yeah. Transitionary
It's a
episode.
transitionary episode.
Yeah.
And, it's after all the Oscars talk, there's not really much going on in the world of movies. Not many exciting releases to talk about, So, we thought we'd just do a little show and tell episode.
Show and tell.
It feels like show and tell.
I love show and tell.
So we're just gonna be talking about like a really great movie that we watched this month from each of us, and we'll talk about the movie, ask questions. The thing that's exciting about this episode is that I know that none of us have seen each other's movies that we're talking about.
Yeah,
We're
these
gonna
are all
be-
fresh for each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Gonna learn something new today. It'll be
So
fun.
it's a rainy day in LA right now. It's very cloudy. We're cozy.
I'm cozied up.
You're all cozied up in your Disneyland long sleeve. Let's get some fit checks right now before we get into the show. Who are you wearing, Joe?
This is 49ers have made the Super Bowl, so I have to rep. This is Dwight Clark, one of the greatest 49er legends of all time. So thought I'd rep my team for this episode.
Very nice. Brandon, who are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing
You got a little creature right there.
a Stitch.
Who is that guy?
I'm wearing Stitch, and I think Levi's.
Cool.
You think Levi's?
I'm not sure.
They're jeans of some sort.
I like jeans. I like acid wash jeans.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love acid
Yeah.
wash jeans.
Much like Brandon, I'm also rocking Levi's for my pants. And I'm rocking Urban Outfitters for the top.
We're kind of matching pants right now, Chris. A little bit.
Yeah,
Almost.
it's close.
That's why you
Close.
couldn't sit next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been awkward. I'm rocking a cozy Patagonia sweatshirt, I guess.
You are cozied up.
I am
You
cozy.
got a button up to the neck.
I
I got my
freezing
I got my
this morning.
flex jeans
That was
on.
chilly.
Oh, I love the flex jeans.
So cozy.
The ones that just
Oh,
stretch
man.
just a little bit.
Because look, I can do this.
It's flex technology. You know when you're at the store and it says it's not just flex jeans, it's flex technology.
I can do this.
So there's some high advanced 22nd century
Look,
tech that
our-
you're wearing.
We got no shoes on this episode.
No, we're not.
It's
Sock check.
socks. It's our woolly.
Mine are probably
Who do,
really
you, who do you
dirty.
guys think has the stinkiest feet? Leave
Hey.
it in the comments.
Who do you think has the best foot shape?
For free?
So
free?
No, that's gonna only go in the Patreon cut. That clip.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, man.
But yeah, let's
Let's get
let's
into it.
well,
Well,
I don't know.
Not that.
Before we get into it, we got time. I just wanted to. Does anybody have any other remaining thoughts about the Oscars as we're getting closer? Because we said last episode if anyone has any,
did you watch any of the movies?
I saw Society of the Snow.
Very good.
Excellent movie. My God, is it well shot?
And
That
it's-
should have gone in.
For cinematography?
Yeah, I think it should have. But
It's crazy.
so it goes.
There's
it,
that
it got,
bias.
it got in for some stuff though, right? It got
Makeup.
international and makeup, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Highly recommend. It's on Netflix.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I have not. I'm a little Oscared out, if I'm being honest. I'm a little.
He's done.
The discourse was, something, and some projects came my way this past week, and I haven't been watching as much as I want to, but it's nice to have this to take a step back, talk about some films, and I do have I'm excited to talk about the film that I have on slate today.
nice. Brandon,
You've been going at it. You've
Brandon,
been.
can you
off to
share with
the
everybody like
races.
this new world that you've uncovered?
I have unmasked a community
Yeah.
of people.
What?
No,
Yeah.
I'm not unmasking them, but I've sort of
This is-
found this community of people that I kind of
This
I
is
belong with them.
Big news. He's a Redditor now, guys.
I'm a Redditor.
Wait,
He's on
this was the news?
No.
Oh.
There's other news that doesn't concern Stacked. It's not sad or bad or anything. It's just we don't talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But
It's,
Brand's a Redditor now.
Is that actually true? You created a Reddit
I got a Reddit,
and you're engaging?
and I'm engaging because of the Oscars. So I found this community of people known as Death Racers. You guys heard of this?
No, I
No.
haven't. What is this?
So they basically, their goal is from nomination morning to the date of the ceremony, they have to watch every single nominee that's nominated for an Academy Award. So that could be anywhere from like 50 to 70 movies. Right now we're I think at 53 for the year.
You are?
No, the total.
Total.
Oh,
53 total
And I have
films.
14 left to go. I have watched all of the short films.
Nice.
And they have helped me track down stuff that is extremely hard to find. The only one that I know I'm not necessarily sure of seeing is Robot Dreams. Like, Neon's doing a terrible job with communicating when that's coming out. But
Yeah.
super exciting. Shorts are good. Check out 99 Wipo. Follow up to DD.
DD, which we just published a review for that last
Mhm.
Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you all enjoyed that, and hope you all check out the film when it comes out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really fun. And look forward to more cozy reviews in the future.
But yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah,
and
that,
I mean,
that
it's
is cool.
It's like these they're so organized, and it's like everybody's trying to help each other watch these movies.
It's like the speedrunning community for video games,
Yeah,
but for movies.
Yeah, and I love that because it's like before I was like kind of on my own trying to search for this stuff, and you can't find anything. But if you
Right.
have the right channels, you can find anything.
Hmm.
Like those shorts have been giving me the worst trouble over the past few years as I've tried to do that, and I never finish in time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
now
the goal is attainable
exactly.
with the help of your new internet friends. It's great.
Yay.
Yahoo! All right, well, guys, let's get into this little laid back conversation about some great art that we experienced this month.
Let's do it.
Let's start with you, Joe. You seem really hyped about sharing this film, so let's get into it.
Absolutely. So this is when we specified the movies we're talking about. These aren't movies that have had to have come out in January 2024.
Yeah.
My movie actually did come out in January 2024, and not only that, it was shot and edited in the month as well.
What the
What?
hell?
Yeah. So
So,
this entire movie was created this past month.
That's amazing. I love art.
So there's a YouTuber by the name of Joel Haver. Are you guys familiar? No. He has a pretty big channel. He's been very consistent every week for the past like 3 years. He's uploaded a new like comedy short film. He does sketches, but like he calls them short films, and he always leaves the tag like new short films every single week.
Yeah.
And he's been big in like just the independent filmmaking community. He's very much like a successor to the Duplass brothers in the sense of like just no budget filmmaking. And this year he set out a goal where he's going to make 12 feature films, one each month of this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So he put out the first of said 12 films, and it's called, get ready, this is the long title. It's called My Life, aka No. I already got it wrong. It is called The Hero's Journey, aka The Caleb Johnson Story, aka My Life, in parentheses, I'm Caleb. I might have gotten that mixed up a little bit, but regardless, that's the title. It's a very long title. And essentially what it is, it's based on a character that he kind of created on his channel. He plays the main character, and it's like a found footage film about this guy, not the sharpest tack in the box, who's kind of going through a life crisis. He's homeless, living out of a rental car. He kind of got kicked out of his house by his mom. He's growing apart from his like lifelong best friend, and he just broke up with his girlfriend. So this dude is kind of, as he says, like it's all about the hero's journey. He's at the point of no return, or the lowest point in the hero's journey. And Joel Haver is such a good character actor, and he plays this like just this really quirky guy. It's a very funny film. It's very silly, kind of has that YouTube sketch feel, but then it really it changes into a really touching story about adjusting to change in life and navigating going through your 20s and growing apart from people you thought you were so close with, and wanting to hold on to the past, but like just struggling to accept that things are changing and things aren't going to be the way they always were.
Whoa.
And he made it for like a little over $1,000, but on his YouTube channel, he did a budget breakdown where he said a lot of those costs, theoretically, this movie could have been made for nothing, like $0. And I just love any display of the accessibility of filmmaking these days, and
Yeah.
anything of how you really don't need money to make a meaningful story.
How old is he?
He's a little older than us. I think he's in his late 20s.
Oh, wow.
You should check out his YouTube channel, Joel Haver. He has a ton of great stuff on there. He has a pretty big following. He has like 2 million subscribers.
How long have you been following this guy?
A few years now.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's just a really funny character actor. And we actually have some comps to discuss.
Yeah.
I can see
So
that.
today we assembled a stack, if you will, of
Yes.
comparable films. So I'll just show off my stack really quick. All of these are independent films to a certain extent. So you have things like Brigsby Bear. You have things like Clerks. I'm just dropping these as they go.
He's just
The Graduate,
throwing them
great movie about
Those aren't even
navigating your
his.
20s. Some of these are mine.
Okay, never mind.
Most of
And then
them.
you have like Napoleon. This is so chaotic. You have like Napoleon Dynamite and SLC Punk.
Woo!
So if you've seen any of those films, that's kind of what you're in for. But yeah, great indie filmmaking. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be for everyone, just because it is so low budget, so low scale. Like it's
Right.
very bare bones.
Is it like this?
It is. So this is actually a movie that we watched last week, right? Last week for our movie night.
Yep.
No.
Selected by
No,
Tori
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Too.
It's
Oh
called
yeah, too. Because
Hey, Stop Stabbing Me. This was made by the now writers of the Sonic movies and also Violent Night. Back when they were in college, during one summer, they just got their friends together and shot a movie together.
Yeah, they did.
And it's very similar to that. It's just very just kind of put together. This movie isn't as silly as that. This one's actually quite sentimental, and it just reminded me a lot of my childhood relationships and how I'm growing apart from friends from the past. So.
You know, one thing maybe that might be fun for us to give the stacked listeners a little glimpse into is that, you know, you're talking about making movies in this like kind of down and dirty, just get to it kind of way. Funnily enough, yesterday,
Yeah.
Joey directed a little something,
Oh my
or
goodness.
took his first step into directing this little project that he got handed recently.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there might be some parallel there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I alluded earlier that I just haven't had time to be watching much, and it's because I got thrown this project, and it's an exciting project because it's something I've never done before, and it's an exciting opportunity in my directing career, but it's also new territory, and it's just been very stressful putting it all together. But yeah, Chris, Ethan, and I, we went out last night and we got some cool shots for it, and
Down in the muck in the alleyways of Burbank, California.
literally the police drove by.
Yep.
Like they didn't. We just waved. And they
Yeah,
drove
I
by.
just did a dumb wave like the Forrest Gump. And then he's like, all right, this is loser's
all right,
just
let
whatever
him
what he's
go."
doing.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think I watched that film at a good time because it was right in the middle of like planning all of this. So I think you're spot on. Just the idea of like just going out and shooting something and
Did
creating
he
art.
write all these movies in advance, you think?
I think he said that he has like outlines, but the dialogue isn't necessary. A lot of it's improv.
Okay, because that would be like the burnout go crazy.
Yeah,
for that.
I must say, that does sound exhausting.
It's a very ambitious project. I recommend everyone check out his channel and follow along. My plan is
So-
to watch all the movies he puts out
maybe,
this year.
Maybe by the end he'll have like a decalogue kind of thing, you know? The
Like they're all
12
connected.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Boyhood, but
That'd be insane.
I don't know. It's like what was I gonna say? What was I gonna?
You were gonna just say like, "Hey, Joe, that's a really good movie pick."
Joe, wonderful movie. Pick.
Oh my God!
Oh
Thank
my
you,
god!
Brandon.
Like
I
it's
appreciate
it's
that.
like no budget movies are my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What? No, let's
Brandon,
get, let's
wait,
get
let's
into
talk
this.
about-
what are
Because you do have a thing with no budget movies.
A thing.
Yes, you don't like them.
you have a bit of a fetish for
And
them.
I feel like that's very
What,
that's
Clerks?
very classist of you.
No, I just don't like how cheap they are.
But,
Well,
but
yeah.
that's the point. I mean,
Well,
you have to start somewhere, and
I'm aware.
I don't know. I find these movies very inspirational.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you know, I don't have like $1 million at my disposal. I don't have these high
Why
end
not?
connections in the industry, and I like seeing films that show that you can still tell a good story with the resources you have around you.
How does it look? Like that's
He purposely bought like a shitty handy cam because it's all from the first person. But I will say, like, you forget about it immediately because it fits the character. This is a guy who's completely broke.
it's found footage.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
It's a found footage approach. And he actually does some very creative things with that genre as well, with the audio and how he pieces his life together and how he's reviewing video clips from his past. Yeah. I mean, if you get around to it, I really recommend checking it out. I think it's a great independent filmmaking resource.
I mean, it's not that I don't like no budget movies. Like, I mean, I like micro budget movies. Like, look at something like the Danish movie, The Celebration.
Oh, the Dogma,
the
Dogma 95
Yeah.
movement.
Because, like, for me, that stuff is like super interesting because the filmmakers intentionally restrict themselves. Whereas, like, I feel like people with no budget movies, they want to make something, they just don't have that, which is great. So like micro budget meaning like 10 to 20K, like that's where I like find my happy spot for that. But less than that,
Yeah.
it's
If you
like,
don't
oh
have
my
that,
gosh,
Brandon doesn't want to talk to
I
you.
don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I do think there's a really like there is a way, like
There
a
is a
really
way.
tasteful way. I think one of the examples like where I've seen a no budget film just like that was just perfect was Takeout.
Oh yeah,
That
Sean
like,
Baker.
because
And he co-directed with someone else. I forget the name. of
Maybe he
the
just
other
knows how to
director.
do it because he's like been so used to it.
because I feel like you have to like synthesize content and form.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that the content thematically matches with a no budget form. You
Yeah.
know, you got to. It's got to make sense in the world that movie takes place in, that it's being shot on a really cheap camera
Yeah,
and
like-
really cheap sound and
If it-
minimal locations
yeah,
and stuff
'cause
like that, you know?
We've talked about how like aesthetic doesn't just mean like what camera you're shooting on or what have you, and all those technical things. Aesthetic is all about like marrying the technical design with a story that matches what you're going for.
Right.
So like, yeah, a movie like Takeout kind of shot on this, I don't know what they shot on exactly, but it looks like really grungy, kind of just like they just picked up a camera and just went for it. And it has like a very like organic feel, you know, and I imagine that
I will
pretty
say,
similar.
like what you were saying about how the aesthetic needs to make sense in the world, this movie does perfectly.
Okay.
I
well
think
then,
it really does. He does it's really creative in the way he uses this like this like bare bones aesthetic.
So is it feature length? Like,
It's an hour 39 minutes.
Wow.
It's a feature length film. And it's really nice. It's really sweet, heartwarming. I think anyone who's like in their 20s adjusting to change is going to find some way to relate to it.
You know, one of my favorite things about like seeing those like small independent films like that is when like you can tell, or like maybe not when you can tell, but like when you get the sense that like maybe the director wasn't given like the resources so that they can like fulfill exactly what they want for it, so they come up with a really creative workaround.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite example of that, and this might be a small tangent, but this is actually from After Hours, Martin Scorsese's After Hours. There's this scene, I forget exactly when in the movie it is, but the main character, he's meant to be like running down the street, like freaking out, barreling down.
Yeah.
Right.
And originally, Marty wanted to permit an entire city street off and just shoot it. But they didn't have the money for that. So they were like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? So literally all they did was they planted a camera in the middle of like some random ass spot in a city and then cranked the shutter speed so everything looks blurry and literally had the actor run around the camera in circles and just panned the camera with him. And so when he's running, the background looks really blurry, but you get the sense that it's a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like little creative techniques like that. That's where independent filmmaking is really exciting. To
And
me.
that's the sign of a great director.
Yes,
who has
that's
that mind.
just
who
smart. Just
knows
like-
how to
yeah.
find those solutions.
Yeah, that reminds me of like those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons when they're walking and talking and there's just the same background,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
flipping over and over again.
I love that.
There's a way to do that, you know?
I think it works better for cartoons though.
Okay.
All right. Well,
'Cause
I think we should move on to Brandon's
All right,
pick.
Brandon.
What $300 million movie would you?
Well,
like to ask?
I
What $4 billion?
mine was a low budget movie.
This
I'm
one's
pretty
an
sure.
epic for the
wow.
ages.
An
Alright,
epic
well-
for the ages, really.
it.
Actually, mine was also the one that came out this year.
Okay.
I'm picking Ava DuVernay's. Sorry,
Origin.
Or-
You're
Origin.
okay.
Oh, I want to see this one.
I was like shocked to like. I didn't really like Selma. I think 13th's a really good documentary, so I wasn't really like high expectations going into this.
What'd you
one.
think about Wrinkle in Time?
I didn't watch it.
Why not?
Did she do Wrinkle in Time?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did the remake.
I went to the test screening
Baller.
for that one.
Yeah, well, that's
It was great.
Really?
No.
Okay. I was like, I didn't think you liked that.
No, I didn't.
I don't know. For me, the trailer didn't really interest me all that much. It looked like a fake Disney movie, and their live action stuff lately has been not very good.
Not great.
Not great. especially the remakes. But I digress. Let's get into her film that just came out. It feels like such a passion project. It marries like fiction with reality really well. I've never seen a movie that, because we're used to the celebrity biopic where it's like we're hitting all the important points of their life, and it's like so boring and repetitive. But in this, it's like okay, so if you guys do not know, Origin follows a writer named Isabel Wilkerson as she's writing her book Caste, Origin of Our Discontents, which is basically trying to connect all of like the discriminatory practices between India, the US, Europe, Germany, and stuff like that throughout time to like figure out where like racism like really like reared its ugly head and has sort of like led to today, which is like it's paralleling lots of things that are happening. I mean, obviously, because it's close to it, but a lot of those things parallel what's going on today, like with police protests around black civilians getting shot in America, or racism throughout the world in the regards to like how people are treated like non-human, like in like places like North Korea and Africa and India, And so the film follows this like author go through her personal like experience while researching this book, while people around her are going, this is not something people want to read. And I've never seen a memoir adapted like this. It's kind of like a docudrama mixed with, but it's not a documentary. But it very much feels like Ava DuVernay like went out into the streets of like Germany or the U.S. and like just filmed B-roll of people walking around, and then they're intercut with these dramatized sequences in like Nazi Germany and within modern India, and then within 1930s South, the 1930s South, like Alabama, Mississippi, and stuff like that. And it's so fascinating, and it's a very wordy movie, probably because it is based on a book and because they are trying to communicate a message to the audience.
Right.
But I was just fascinated and riveted from like minute one. And it's not a short movie. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
And it's hard for a movie not to feel like an exercise or like a piece of homework. But I think they nailed it. So
Very cool.
That is a big task to.
Yeah, that's
grapple.
a lot. That's a lot to grapple.
And I
for
find
any
that
director.
like when I watch the trailers, I was like, okay, so yeah, she's trying to find the origin of discrimination.
right.
Between humans, and I'm like, that is a big thing, that like, because there's like, I don't know,
There's
Well,
so
it's
much
like, how do you
complexity to
connect
all
those
that, yeah.
things, right?
it essentially boils down to just like, I there's a Game Grumps joke
Oh.
where they're like, the origin of racism came from just like the first two like conscious humans, and one human goes to the other one, and there's like, you're not me, and they just like start attacking the other humans just because
Yeah.
they're not you know.
Exactly.
But I want to know like what's the more like research based answer to this, and that's why like I've been really wanting to check out this film. It's just like it's just been so inaccessible, which is such a bummer.
It is a bummer. I mean, it's like her ability to discover what's been going on.
Yeah.
Well, going into the accessibility of this film, like you were saying, Tori saw like a clip on Twitter or something that was being spread around. Tori is a producer of the show. She's my girlfriend, and she's also, you can find her in our DB review. She's in our last podcast. I need to clarify. Tori's the best. But she saw a clip where it's Ava DuVernay and I think her producer, someone else involved with the film, like literally just like out in front of a movie theater, like handing out flyers, begging people to come see this movie. And it just goes to show like how much more difficult it is for Black filmmakers who are making these passion projects to get exposure to these kinds of stories. Because last week we were talking about like how Barbie didn't get 2 little nominations, and it's like, yeah, but like this story, this passion project that's clearly like, she's been such an important voice in the whole like social justice movement that we've seen in the past few years, and she's done such amazing work, not only through her films but just outside and like just getting out there and connecting with people through social media especially. and she's like begging people to come see this movie.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it's not getting as much marketing, because I haven't really seen much marketing for it.
Who distributed the movie?
Neon.
Neon's
Neon-
been slacking
Neon
recently.
is what the hell, man?
You got so many good movies, but your distribution sector sucks.
Yeah, it's like so sad because like watching the movie, I'm like, I don't know how you target this to somebody without it coming off as preachy. That is one thing that I would say they would probably struggle with marketing this. Robot Dreams, I think they would also struggle with just because it's dialogueless.
Is it really?
Yeah. So like I feel like they're picking these like very like fascinating and interesting movies, but then
Don't know how to.
but they're like,
market
I don't
them.
know.
How to get it out
They're,
there.
they're like, we're glad that it's under our label,
Yeah.
but we're not like A24. We don't have that brand recognition, you know?
Yeah.
So it's sad, really, but like it's a fascinating movie. I can't get over of like how she wove it. Like if I'm being honest, and I hate talking Oscars more because like this is not what the show's about, but like Anjanou Ellis, she deserves the Best Actress nomination. I think.
Oh, in this film.
Yeah, and Ava DuVernay Best Director, like by far. Like I would
Wow.
kick out Scorsese easy for her.
And it's such a bummer that it took her really just wrinkle in time to put her into director jail.
Right.
It feels.
Yeah. It's
And
like,
know?
who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's like who cares?
Yeah.
I mean,
Why-
Damien Chazelle, yeah, he's in director's jail now.
Yeah, but I mean, he got another chance after First Man. I feel like that movie wasn't,
But it was a
praised.
great movie.
It was good.
It was good.
And Babylon's fantastic too. But like,
Good.
I don't know. It just felt like, because she's a black woman, like people were quicker to put her in director jail.
And this movie's very like self not referential because it's not funny. It's
It's a funny movie.
it's funny.
It's a riot.
I mean, look at my cock.
It's a riot.
But it's a movie that is so metatextual.
No, I'm just imagining that's the tagline on the
It's a riot.
Origin.
it's very metatextual because it is commentating on this, and the lead character is the writer, and that could go wrong so many ways.
Well, tell you what, I see you have some comps here, and I
Yeah.
have seen some of them. So why don't you go through and just kind of like describe why you selected
Okay.
these as your stack to
So
compare?
Blind Spotting, mostly not tone wise, but I'm thinking in terms of the themes of like discrimination and like not knowing where to fit in, because she is like she's in an interracial marriage. She
With John Bernthal's
Baron
The Punisher.
He's also very good. In this
Wait.
but he's great in this, and I think that's a good pick. I think, sorry, Moonlight, in the way it's sort of structured. It's because it's structured into sections and then it interweaves them, but it's also very real depiction, I think, of what it's like to be a black man or woman in the United States. And then Come On, because it's like the closest thing I can compare it to with being like real and fiction, kind of like treading the line between that, because like the actors in this, other than the top lead two, I'm like, I don't really recognize them from anything. So it's like, it's kind of interesting to have like non-actors or at least lesser known actors in a movie.
This film also does kind of have like a docudrama touch to
Right,
it.
does,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about a
That is a good
podcast
call.
journalist.
Yeah. So another journalist movie.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Schindler's List, because there are a few sequences in this movie that dramatize not just the concentration camps and stuff like that, but like slavery, racism in the South. And then I don't know, I'm not 100% sure if the Dalit stuff in India is dramatized, but all of them really feel in the vein of this. And that can be heavy, but not
yeah.
like so heavy as I'm like, it's a downer to walk out of, because it offers you hope at the end, which I thought was wonderful. But yeah,
It's not too sad.
no, it's not
like
too
Grave
sad.
of the
Like
Fireflies.
I wasn't.
Piece of shit.
I was just when I walked out the movie, I was like, wow, I want to watch that again. And I can't remember the last time I watched like a straight drama with like focusing on like modern life and being like, which was heavy, like first
Yeah.
reformed ass shit, and then being like, wow, I really want to watch that again. It didn't feel like a chore at all. So yeah, it's my movie.
Yeah. Super sold. Oh man.
I actually have tickets to go see this on Sunday,
Oh, you're
and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to make
Oh.
that happen.
Chris, like I've never been so sure.
You-
Watch,
you've
he's
been
gonna log. It's like 3 stars.
It was all right. It was a riot.
It was a riot.
was
Can
a
that be a
riot.
review no matter what? What are the odds?
All right, 5.
Okay.
1,
1, 2, 3,
4.
4. All right.
You do not have to be held to that. The content of this
can I
film
add
sounds
extra
pretty
stuff? I
damn
can put that in my
heavy.
first line.
You can make that your final sentence of your review.
Ultimately, it
ultimately-
was alright.
But just make it appropriate. Just make it appropriate.
Can you put in a footnote that says, like, just to clarify, I had lost a game of What Are the Odds to have
No.
this in my review.
Link the
I in
review.
no way feel
No,
that
he
this
can't.
sentiment accurately reflects my opinions on this.
Maybe
beautifully made film.
change your definition of what a riot is before you say it.
Maybe
See?
I'll
you
maybe
can
I'll
recontextualize
I'll
what
have
is
to
a
theme
riot.
my review around breaking down the syntax of riot.
Oh my goodness.
So look forward to that, everyone.
Letterbox
bad.
drop on Sunday. Get ready.
Well,
an
they're
eye
not going
on
to
it.
see this till after.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, well, you go back and find it. It's there.
All right.
Wow.
All right, Chris, let's hear
Cool.
what was
You're
what
going
was
to be
your-
embarrassed for a week.
Yeah. Oh God.
I want to hear Chris's pick
Alright.
for the month.
So I'm picking a movie that I watched because of my independent cinema class at Loyola Marymount University. Shout out LMU.
Yeah,
Go
Yoda.
Lions.
Yeah, Yoda Mary.
Go
Lions.
Nuns.
Go Lions.
They still think I'm enrolled there, by the way.
Me too.
I
you get
never,
emails from them.
I never said no. So
You
they,
get emails of
They
like-
send my parents like, "Here's what your student is up to right now."
So they think not only do they think you're there, but it took you 6 years to graduate.
Yeah, maybe they just think I'm dumb, and that's their fault. They're the one who accepted me. So
LMU. All right. So yeah, I picked a film from I want to say 1989. It's actually Steven Soderbergh's directorial debut,
Oh.
Sex, Lies, and
You
Videotape.
could've just got the
Oh,
Which-
man.
Wait, is it here?
we have it. Yeah.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even
Tori
see it. I'm sorry.
owns it.
Hold on.
It's okay.
It's a comedy.
No. It just has some level of thematic thread with these comps, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Fun Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Excellent movie.
There it is.
Oh gosh, how do I even begin with this? Well, first of all, this was Steven Soderbergh's feature directorial debut.
It won the
and
Palme d'Or.
Won the Palme d'Or.
That's crazy.
And
Right out
and
the
he is
gate.
to this day the youngest person to ever win the Palme d'Or.
Really?
Yep.
How old was he?
I want to say 20s.
21.
I think like late 20s, 26,
21?
27.
Yeah, it was amazing. So essentially, Sex, Lies, and Videotape tells a story of this sexually repressed woman who is kind of going through a bit of a tough situation with her husband because, and this isn't a spoiler because it's kind of in the log line, her husband is having an affair with her sister. And there's you have that kind of scandal aspect of the film going on, but you have this character that kind of comes into the story who is an old friend of the husband character, old friend from college, and he has this thing where he likes to film videos of women just sitting and talking to the camera about anything they want, about sex, anything. It can be whatever.
Lies.
Lies, yeah,
They
they
lie?
can be they can be confessed. It can be whatever, just whatever they want to talk about. And what this movie is really getting at least the way that I read it, is that it's a story about these four people who are kind of going through a really tough situation in their sex lives, in the sense that like this woman, she's sexually repressed. She doesn't feel any desire. Her husband is cheating on his wife and trying to keep that hidden. The sister's kind of going through the moral like qualms of what she's doing, and this guy is doing this videotape thing. And all of this stuff sounds like really disparate, like how do these even connect to a singular story?
Right.
But really it's a story about unearthing the people behind the mass, so the videotapes definitely play a big role and is a big part of how the plot moves forward. But really the movie's about shedding back all of like the veneer that you kind of put forward, and I feel like sex is kind of used as a way to convey that, because I feel like sex is a very vulnerable place to be for a lot of people, and it's about like learning about each other, having empathy for each other, and learning to be honest. There's a lot of like psychoanalytical aspects to this movie that I think you would really eat up, Brandon. Yeah, and it's about all like, and more than anything, the drama between the characters is so fascinating, because you see how they affect one another, and how like their stories kind of wrap around one another. And by the end, the overall moral of this movie is that with all of the complications of like an affair and sex and what have you, all of the overall message is about like living honestly and just embracing yourself. And yeah, it's a very it's actually a surprisingly optimistic movie for such a surprisingly heavy drama
Yeah.
that kind of comes out of it. But it's also a really fun movie. Like, I had a great time watching it. The actors do such a good job, and yeah, I don't know. I really think you guys would
When
enjoy
the
this.
subject matter hits, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's it seems kind of philosophical.
It does. And it has that kind of tone to it, because it's and I mean, okay, so. Just so you guys know,
Weird comps after this
Wait, okay.
discussion.
Well, first of all, let me just say we are limited in what we can pick for our comps because we
don't have a lot of sex
don't
movies in this
we don't
house,
have
I
a
guess.
whole lot of sex movies in this
Come
house.
to my
bad.
house.
My bad.
Yeah, Brand's got a ton.
Come to my house, guys.
All right,
You
but
got every movie at your house. That doesn't count.
so I picked
More than
actually
you.
2 really good movies about sex, and they're I like to think of them as like the brother and sister of raunchy comedies. We have Superbad
Brother, bro.
and Blockers. Yeah, and I feel like on some level I can make a comp in the sense that like these movies are similarly about like how to go about sex like healthily and just like being emotionally healthy about it. It's also about like unearthing the people behind all of like the raunchiness and craziness of a story. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what else I can share about this movie, but
Can I ask a good question?
yes, please.
Soderbergh, he's a very experimental director.
Yes.
Can you like share? Is there any like really experimental elements that he uses in this film?
Not frankly, like of the Soderbergh films I've seen, I feel like this and Magic Mike are his most like how do I put this, linear. There's not really anything all that like zany about this movie. There's
But even
nothing,
like technically, there's no way interesting way. he
there's no
shoots
like
it or-
yeah, it's actually pretty standard, but like it works for the film because
I kinda dig that,
It
though.
kind of embraced like a naturalistic look to it, so
Yeah.
and that works too.
I just like how Ethan's like, hey, what interesting things does Steven Soderbergh do in this movie? And Chris is like, nothing, really. Nothing.
but it's good.
but
But it's really good.
No, I know what you mean because
Natural-
he's
No, I get it.
he's-
I get
he's
it.
more focused on the content of the film,
Yeah.
rather than the form.
Yeah,
Going
absolutely.
back to content
Yeah,
and form.
there's this. I mean, there's some non-linear
don't know, I haven't
editing.
seen
There's
it.
some really cool stuff where like they'll someone will put in like one of the videotapes, and then we'll watch the videotape with the characters,
Sort of cache.
and then it'll come back, and then we'll go back to them, and then
Right.
that will recontextualize stuff from
Live
before.
reaction.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Also, this movie is very significant in the film industry because it's kind of was like the pioneering beginning of like the indie boom of the 90s. This really was a big. I mean, this film's in the National Film
Registry?
Registry.
Was this shot on digital, but like digital tape, like cassette tape as well? or
I
no?
think so. It does have like an analog look to it, but I don't know if it's like
Intentional.
like a DV
It's
camera
also
kind of thing
one
or
of the
like a,
hardest films to find on physical media. That's
Found it
a
right there.
That's tough. It's weird because it's like
You're like every week, man.
Oh my god, let me guess that.
Sorry.
happened?
But like that DVD is actually very hard to come by. There hasn't been like a Blu-ray or 4K release, and it's like a pretty noteworthy film
yeah,
too.
Criterion. Come on.
Yeah, Criterion pick it
That's
up.
prime for
something.
Criterion.
Yeah,
Right there.
Yeah.
Criterion would love this.
But it's a film that's been on my watch list for a really long time. I really love Soderbergh, and just he's one of the most like experimental filmmakers out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you were saying with the natural filmmaking approach, like sometimes you just need good dialogue and great actors.
Yeah, good-
That's all
yeah.
you need.
Yeah.
Put the
Oh
camera
my
there,
God.
let them do their thing, and there's
Yeah.
nothing else.
The
you need to
actors in
do.
this movie do such a good
Is
job.
it Christian Slater? Am I crazy? No, it's not.
Who's in it?
Is it Kiefer Sutherland?
Riveting Performances by Peter Gallagher, Andy McDowell, Laura San Giacomo. She's mostly a TV actor, it seems.
Oh.
And James Spader.
James Spader.
James
That's who I was
Spader.
thinking of. James
Ultron.
Spader. They all
You
have
should have
all
put
those
Avengers:
actors have
Age of
similar faces.
Ultron as your comp.
Oh yeah.
Two
Ultron.
great
I
James
forgot that
Spader
that's Ultron.
performances.
Oh God. Okay, Ultron. All right.
That really shook him up.
Do you guys have like a favorite movie about sex? Like I think it's a very fascinating topic.
sex drive.
Sex
Right here.
drive? What? Super bad.
Superbad.
Super bad's your pick.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's a very good movie.
that's tough.
There's a lot of good movies about
It's
sex.
tough.
That's sex.
Nymphomaniac.
Nymphomaniac's first part is good. The second half is kind of a mess. Like I hate saying that about a movie, but it's like when you have a part 1 versus a part 2, the part 2 didn't coalesce into like a good movie, in my opinion. But I
It
mean,
is a movie about sex.
I think.
Does Tampopo count?
yeah,
Sure.
it's
Is that a
sensual.
movie about sex?
It's-
I ain't into that shit, but like
Well, you are.
What? No, I'm not.
Well, yeah, you are.
I've seen you with noodles, man.
I'm
You like
not.
that egg scene, don't you?
It's interesting.
Don't spoil it, guys. I haven't seen
Okay.
it yet.
I think the cook, the wife, the
Oh,
thief,
that's
and her
okay.
lover.
Wait, that's mine.
That's
That's
yours?
mine.
You can
actually.
have
Yeah.
it.
I'm
You
taking
can't
that one.
have
That
that.
one also includes food.
Yeah.
Food sex movies. I
I think
guess that's
food
my thing.
and sex kind of go hand
Well,
in
I mean,
hand.
you get the same pleasure sensors of the brain activated.
Boom.
That's coming from a scientist.
What?
Brandon Winchester,
What?
PhD, everybody.
What scientist? Are you the scientist?
Film scientist.
Film
Ooh,
scientist.
that would be like his spin-off YouTube channel. Like, I'm the film scientist.
I
Let's
could
break
totally
down
see
the
that.
science of Inception.
I'm
you know?
seeing it. I'm seeing it right now.
I-
I'm looking at it.
You're looking at me.
The film scientist. over here. That's his new nickname. It was the heartthrob. You've now made the transition to the film scientist.
Scientist.
My goodness.
No, but I sex comedies are usually like the
Yeah,
best, you
yeah.
know?
Like those are two good I
Yeah.
think like
Walkers I
the
love.
the age of like usually see it with like teenage movies.
Oh, Shame. Shame is my favorite sex movie.
Oh, I want to
Oh,
watch that. Isn't that
Fassbender.
Barry Jenkins?
no,
No.
that's Steve McQueen.
M-
Steve
McQueen.
McQueen and
McQueen.
Michael Fassbender leads.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Does that count as a sex movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, it's a
Sorry,
good one.
I keep flip flopping everywhere. Fast Times, The Cook.
Ethan likes sex.
Wait, Brandon.
Yeah.
One of your favorite movies is a really good sex
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Say it. Say the name. Say
Y
it.
tu mama también.
Woo!
Yo Mama 2.
Yo
That's what
Mama.
that means.
It's a Yo
Tandem.
Mama joke.
It's a road trip movie and a sex movie.
Yo Mama
It's
Tambourine.
this actually is a really fantastic movie.
I
about
remember
sex.
gripping the handrails. What? Not handrails. The
Armrest.
armrests at the local theater.
Local theater? You mean our film school
You
theater?
mean the Marriott Studios Foligno Theater?
You fucking fuck.
Yeah, that one. But it's so good and it's so positive too.
It
and
is.
It's so progressive. It's an LGBT film too.
Claro.
Does End of Evangelion count as a sex film?
Do you think it is?
I mean,
Well, there's
the opening scene.
you see a
is-
nut.
You know?
Yeah, he nuts in the opening scene.
Does he?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
How do you remember?
just
next
watched
to
it.
next
he
to.
jerks off to Oscar. Remember?
He was doing that.
What?
Did you not see the?
This man gave this movie 5 stars. You don't remember, and that's why she says disgusting at the end of the film.
I'm gonna be honest. I gave that movie 5 stars. I thought it was incredible, but like it was such an overwhelming sensory experience.
remember he jerked-
Yeah, it's hard to remember specific moments.
What the fuck was that?
Ethan,
Get into
why don't
it.
you round us out? What was your favorite film that you watched
Can you stop suckling that?
in January of 2024, this year, the year of our Lord and Savior?
Okay. Well, my favorite film that I watched this month was Sasquatch Sunset.
Well,
but I've already
yes.
talked about it.
Last episode. If you want to see that discussion, go to our last episode.
Go to the
Get
last
over
episode. So I was so in love with that film, I wanted to check out the works of the other directors. They're David and Nathan Zellner. So I decided to check out this one film that was actually on my watch list for a while. I just didn't know they directed it. It is called Kamiko, the Treasure Hunter. And this film, it's got a really fun premise. So it's about this woman named Kamiko. She's very antisocial. She doesn't really have any friends. She works this job that she hates, being an assistant to this manager at this company. They don't really, she just does all this shit for this guy, like get his like dry cleaning and make him tea and stuff like that. She has no real ambition in her life besides her passion for going on treasure hunts and just like finding stuff,
Yeah.
So the movie begins with her going to this cave on the beach and uncovering this videotape. And that videotape is a VHS copy of the movie Fargo. And she becomes obsessed with this movie,
With Fargo.
with Fargo,
I can't imagine.
the Coen Brothers Fargo.
It's a good movie.
And
It is a good one.
she gets entranced that at the beginning of the film it says based on a true story. And if you know how the movie Fargo ends, it ends with Steve Buscemi taking all that money and burying it in the snow by this fence post. And that's how the movie ends. Like all the money that the whole film is about,
Oh, okay.
And she's like, wait,
I gotta find
I gotta
here we
find this money.
go.
it. Shit.
So like the first act of this film is her in Tokyo just like she's trying to map out like
Where
where
would it be?
exactly this line of fences is, while she's like dealing, this is when you like you start to find out that she doesn't really have a social life.
Yeah.
Her mother and her boss are very like disappointed in her that she like doesn't have a boyfriend or anything.
Yeah.
There's just all these standards put up on her that she doesn't like want to follow. You know?
Right.
And she's like, if I find like this treasure with all this money, this could change my life.
Mhm.
And so one day, her boss gives her a company card to go buy something for his wife, really nice.
Yeah.
And what she decides to do is to buy a plane ticket to Minnesota
Wow.
to go find this
Yeah.
stash of money. So, and then just the rest of the movie is just her, this Japanese woman who barely knows any English, just like trying to make her way through like Nebraska and that Minnesota area up there,
man.
trying
That's
to get her way to Fargo to
Okay,
find this
that's like
treasure.
deep middle America. No, like,
Yeah.
like that's middle America.
What
right?
the?
That's a cool idea for a movie.
That
It
is
is a
fun,
great
and it's
idea.
it's kind of like
I
the
kinda wanna know how it
concept
ends.
makes me think of like how we get lost
In art.
in art
Yeah.
to try to find meaning in our own lives when
Exact-
we in moments where we feel lost.
But it's also sort of like a dissection on what is truth. you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like based on a true story that never happened, so it's like the story is true, like it sort of breaks down like things can be true even if they don't happen,
Right.
Yeah.
you
You could say that about pretty much any biopic that we see come out.
Exactly.
Based on a true story,
Yeah.
inspired by a
Does
true
she find treasure?
I don't want to spoil it because I think it's this movie was so hard to find.
Yeah, I can.
I-
imagine.
Where'd you find it?
Yeah, where
uh,
The Seven Seas.
the seven.
Oh,
As the death as
We do not endorse.
we do not
this.
endorse that unless you don't put. I couldn't even rent this on Amazon. That's how hard
you
it was.
kidding me?
Yeah, I couldn't find it anywhere.
as Death Racers
But
say,
now
it's
I
in
am.
the seas.
But now that I've seen it, I'm 100% gonna
What are
buy
you
this
looking
on
at me for?
Blu-ray.
Yeah. That's the importance of physical
Yes.
media right there.
I'm gonna save this movie and show this to people because I think now that I've learned between this and Sasquatch Sunset is that the Zellners they present loneliness and sort of these optimistic ideas against a really pessimistic world in a very quiet manner and subtle way, So both of these concepts are very absurdist of their films. It's about 4 Sasquatches in their life. This one's about a woman who believes that Fargo really happened and that the money is out there, so she goes to go find it. She travels around the world to go find it, and nobody believes her. But it's not also. But they also don't make it like a big it's this big joke. It's a very quiet and sort of just a very quiet and relaxed film.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah, does it play
At all?
into any of like what an absurd thing for her to be doing, or
No,
does it play it very?
I would say
thematically?
it plays sort of like a comedy, which is why I sort of picked The Big Lebowski for one of my. Not just because I would have picked Fargo if I owned it, but I'd say that the humor and the sort of it's sort of dry, like the Coens.
It's inspired by the Coen brothers.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just that their film is included
Yeah.
into the plot. Like it does feel
It's very
by their
inspired
tone.
in the way.
Okay.
Yeah, people they talk to each other and they're try to just figure out they're there's a deputy officer there who's just honestly just trying to help Kumiko,
Yeah.
and he's just trying to understand what's going on, but there's that language barrier, and it's also it shows that these people aren't perfect. So his first idea is to take her to a Chinese restaurant to see if anybody who works there could talk to her.
Oh, that's middle America for
Yeah.
you.
And it's
Do
just
you relate to this film having been to Japan this year and experienced culture shock?
well, see, that's why I picked my second film.
we're just leading.
It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the reverse of Lost in Translation,
Yeah.
where it's a Japanese woman just dropped off in the middle of Middle America and just
Yeah.
a total fish out of water.
Yeah.
But I feel like it also sort of dissects loneliness and sort of that resiliency towards the feelings of loneliness.
Yeah.
In the way that this film does.
It's an Americana lost in translation.
Exactly. Yeah. And then my last film I picked Swiss Army Man.
Oh, I love this.
Because I feel like the Daniels and the Zellners also it very similar styles of humor,
Mm.
but also you know, as I say, it's like dissecting truth,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not gonna say what's real and what's not, you know, because I don't believe films ever ask you that question about but like what is, you know, what is the fabric of reality itself, you know,
Right.
and there is also sort of a survival aspect to the film because, you know, she's just out in the middle of fucking Minnesota, you know, just
Yeah,
fending for
nowhere.
herself, and that sort of like leads her to some crazy situations.
Kind of
you
like the
know?
Terminal.
I guess so.
Yeah, because like he has
Oh,
to,
that would be a
because
comp.
he's like
Yeah.
left without like currency or anything like that, so he has to sort of make his way, and you know he doesn't speak the language, so he has to learn
Yeah.
everything.
It's a great comp, and it can be the only comp
It could be the only movie.
because it's the
Well,
it's
that-
the only.
We could relate that. Hey, okay, everybody relate the Terminal to your film.
We already did it for yours.
Okay,
So,
that's mine. Chris, I'm gonna say
Hey Chris, how does Sex Lives and a Videotape relate to Steven Spielberg's The Terminal, which is
They're-
the only movie ever made?
they're
Which
both
is
movies.
ironic that you're trying to comp anything to it because it's the only one.
For
Yeah.
Origin, it's because we are all connected, and it shows the power of humanity
Wow.
and how there are no casts at an airport. Well, there is, but there. Wait a minute.
I
But
got-
there shouldn't be. It's the idea of what an airport should be.
They're both directed by men.
Good
Hey.
job.
Both
Great.
directed by men. Wow, that's
I guess.
nice.
Can you think of any other comp?
He has sex with Catherine.
For
Zeta-Jones.
mine, both are like kind of like fish out of water stories, kind of, where both feel very like alone based on their situation. So it's
Right.
like films that deal with loneliness and trying to make the most out of the resources around you and making the most out of like otherwise very like very bad situations. So there you go.
all right. Well, you know, comparing the only movie ever to other things is like when Brandon makes lists on Letterboxd, ranked lists, but he only includes one
One
film. in them.
film.
I'm gonna
yeah.
start privating those until I watch a second film.
Good.
Just because I hate being harassed.
Good.
Good. Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes.
should do that.
There's no point in
I'm
ranking
comparing it
something with
against itself.
That's an oxymoron.
No, it's not. You're a moron.
Wow, that was
That was bad.
that was
That was really bad.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think, and this is because it's gonna relate to your point about how hard it is to find some movies on online nowadays.
Right.
I think we're going through a second silent film era with these indie films.
Oh, like they're just being lost.
They're just being lost because there's nowhere to put them. Studios don't want to distribute them.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's renting them.
and they're not safe on any streaming
And
service.
they're not
'cause They
safe-
could just pull it at any time.
And even physical media. Look at what Best Buy's doing. I know there are other places to buy physical media. We're all collectors here, but
we were at Ethan and I were at Best Buy earlier today. We wanted to go look at the Blu-rays. And
Depressing
it was
as hell, man.
sad.
Oh,
It was like the selection is so slim. You used to be able to spend like half an hour looking at all the titles that they had, and there's just nothing anymore.
I remember as a kid going to Target and having 3 rows of DVDs, and now it's down to one section, and
it's just
only,
new releases.
It's just Oppenheimer and Barbie,
that's it.
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, there's no room for discovery here.
Yeah.
If you were to recommend a place for people to pick up physical
Oh.
media,
I know.
Where-
I know a place
where would
to
you
rent.
recommend
I know
it?
a place to rent.
but you can still buy stuff there.
Yeah,
right?
you can buy stuff there. Hang on,
Shout
let me,
it out.
Let me make sure I get the right name. 1 second.
Isn't it called like the Cinematheque?
It's video.
The
Videotheque.
Videotheque.
Hi everybody. If you live in or are around the Pasadena area,
If this is your zip code,
I highly recommend Videotheque. It's on
Figura.
Figura, in
Figuero. Figuero? Is it Figuero?
Figuero.
Figuero.
Figuera, but as an A at the end.
Yeah.
Figuera.
Figuera.
Great,
There we go.
Great store.
Figuera.
Lot of international representation there. You can buy great posters. I have 2 posters in my room from there. They're great. Staff are really friendly. Yeah.
Ethan,
Check it out. What about me? What? Oh, a place that I recommend?
Yeah.
That you'd recommend?
The only place I can think of, which is kind of my point, is Barnes and Noble. That's the only
Barnes
place I
and
can
Noble's
think of. But now everything's so. If it's not the Criterion cell, overpriced to
It's
sell.
very expensive.
$20 for a movie that came out 10 years ago. Just stick with Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
Unless it's a Criterion or a British thing.
Or Book Off.
Yeah, that's
if
what
you
I
have a
was
Book
gonna
Off
say.
near
That
you.
was
Yeah.
my recommendation.
sorry.
I have 3 or 4 book offs near me, and if anything, they've got a selection of DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, and they're all in pretty good condition. Plus, you can trade. So, like, if you like really want to be like, I want to upgrade my movies. Like, I upgraded Titanic recently because like I put it on my TV to test like my surround sound,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like takes up like this much of the screen and this screen. And I'm like, this is the way James Cameron intended me
Yeah.
to watch Titanic. So yeah, Book Off's great.
Yeah.
Gotta remember.
Oh yeah, I got to shout out Be Kind Video in Burbank, California on Magnolia Boulevard.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Renoir, who opened this place up in 2022. He's always had this dream of opening up an old school video store, and he has one of the best selections of VHS tapes. I love collecting VHS tapes because that's a physical media that's becoming more and more cherished because they're like little time capsules. You get like the little
Yeah.
ads beforehand and whatnot, and there's some independent films from like the 80s that like that's the only way you're gonna ever find them.
Yeah.
And they have a really great selection, and not only that, but you can rent and buy Blu-rays, DVDs, 4Ks, and whatnot. And my girlfriend and I, Tori, are working on a documentary about the store right now, so stay on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but check out Amoeba Records. They have like a really great selection.
Atomic.
Of course.
Atomic Records, also in Burbank, has a really great selection. I know back in the Bay Area, I'm more familiar with physical media locations than I am here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I've yet to discover the scene here, but I know Vidiot's is also another great video rental store in the Eagle Rock area. I haven't been there, but there's Whammy Analog Media, which is in the Silver Lake area, I believe.
Yeah.
Silver Lake actually has a lot of really good physical media locations as well. But like I said, a lot of these places are still kind of a crapshoot. It's not as
Yeah.
organized because they're just trying to ingest as much as possible. They'll take whatever. So you are very much on the hunt for certain titles,
Which is
but
fun.
It is, but
It's-
that's part of the
my
fun.
Kamiko treasure hunt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of the fun.
And
You
one
never know
more
what you're
place to
gonna find.
recommend. One more place. Your local library.
Yeah.
Your local
free.
library
I
will
love
sometimes
the
have
library.
a lot of physical media. You
And
know?
movies that you won't find anywhere else for like a good price. Like, I'm sorry to recognize this man as a filmmaker, but there are films of his that I do want to see just for historical purposes.
Who?
No, Woody Allen.
Woody Allen.
I could not find Sleeper, his movie, anywhere, and it's on my 1001 movies to see before you die list. And I thought, let me look in my library, and they have it. So I mean,
Look at that.
it's about preservation as well. Also, East Valley, Arizona, House of Used. I got to shout out my place where I got most of my movies
Nice.
growing up. So,
Nice.
but yeah, R.I.P. Blockbuster. Hello, independent movie places.
But yeah, you're right. Like once this streaming bubble is over, like once the bubble pops, so many of these movies
Lost.
There are
Lost
already
Cause.
some there's already
Yeah.
movies that
There-
are lost. They were available for like a month to watch
Yeah.
on
Or
these
TV
streaming-
shows.
Yeah.
Like the Willow series. You can't watch that anywhere.
Gone
It's
forever.
gone forever.
We don't know where it
it's
is.
in the
a
Disney
vault.
vault.
And then they're shelving movies before they even get a chance to get released now.
Yeah.
Like Coyote versus Acme is the latest big title that like, are we ever going to see that? They're shopping it around,
Yeah.
but still like it's just the danger of like where we're at in the film industry where like a lot of these titles and a lot of this art that people worked on, regardless of how the quality is, they're just getting lost. And I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong.
And I think that's the theme of our January movie episode, really,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
is like finding movies that, like, for most of these, like, that are tough to find. I mean, like Origin, I don't know if a lot of local theaters are showing it. Your movie, you said it was hard to find. Your movie's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube because that's the only way that these creators can have full ownership over their art.
Yeah.
And that's why like him and a lot of other creators are, putting it out on this platform because that's like the way they can ensure that it's publicly available and people can actually see it.
And even with yours, it's like
Yeah.
it's like tough to
Like
find on
it
physical.
won the Palme d'Or, and it's fucking hard to find.
And it's by
That's crazy.
Steven
And, like,
Soderbergh, one of the most
this guy's
famous
like
filmmakers.
He's hugely influential in our industry. And like, mind you, these 4 movies are not like the only movies in our collections that are hard to find.
I got a list.
Like,
I'm going to point out right here,
here.
SLC Punk.
Yes.
This was the most incredible find at Amoeba Records in Hollywood. I've looked at every single video store I've been to. I can't find this. It's an incredible movie, by the way. You should watch
Yes.
it.
Please watch it. Represent my hometown. Well, look at that. That's like a weird theme that
synthesis.
a
We
weird
didn't even
theme that we
intend
didn't
it for
found
that.
because we
Yeah.
didn't tell each other like what movies we are gonna pick. But these are just movies that we love that are hard to find.
They are.
All right.
And look at that.
Yeah.
Well,
January is done.
Go support your small movies,
go support your small movies.
Support small
and
movies.
small theaters.
Small theaters, small physical media
small foot.
locations. Your local businesses.
Yeah.
Small Foot.
There you go.
Zendaya's Michi.
And
She is.
let's. I've been really appreciating everyone commenting on all these videos.
Absolutely.
We all read them.
Yeah, we read them all. And Brandon and Joe, they sometimes go and respond, which I love and
We
appreciate.
love the discourse.
I love engagement.
Don't hold back.
Yeah, don't hold back. Give us your hot takes. Brandon will
If
respond.
you
to them.
disagree with us,
welcome.
that's okay.
That's great. Honestly, yes, we love it when you disagree. But I want to know, just like, what is like a really fantastic film that you recently watched that you don't feel like most people talk about? Share it in the comments, and we'll add it to our watch list, and we'll check it out.
Hell yeah.
If
I
we
love
can
that
find
idea.
it. If we can find it.
If we can find it,
If
exactly.
we can find it, we will find
We'll
it.
find a way. We'll
All
find a way.
All right.
But yeah, that'll do us for this episode of Stacked, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.